Welcome back, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today for part 40. This is it, our final capstone explainer. It's really the culmination of everything we've explored so far in the world of medical billing and coding. We've spent a ton of time digging into the nitty-gritty details. The anatomy, the CPT codes, the compliance rules. But today, we're zooming out. We're going to synthesize your incredible learning journey and look at the modern emerging industry trends that are literally reshaping healthcare administration. We are looking at the future, which is your future, in this vital profession. Let's get right to it.
Okay, so here's a quick roadmap of what we're covering in this explainer. 1. Accountable care and quality. 2. Tech-assisted coding and CDI. 3. Electronic claims and clearinghouses. 4. Continuous adaptation and updates. And finally, 5. Our master capstone summary.
Section 1. Accountable care and quality. The shift to value. So, an ACO, or Accountable Care Organization, this completely redefines success in the medical field. It shifts the entire industry from the old-school fee-for-service model over to value-based care. Basically, it links provider payments directly to patient quality indicators, all built on a really solid primary care foundation. Put simply, healthcare professionals, hospitals, and specialists are actually collaborating now. It isn't just about the sheer volume of services they pump out anymore. It's heavily focused on pay for performance. It's about the actual quality of care and, most importantly, the patient's health outcomes.
In this shift, it's heavily backed by federal legislation. Under the Affordable Care Act, or ACA, these ACOs are financially rewarded for providing savings while caring for Medicare populations. But hey, it doesn't just stop at government programs. Commercial payers are absolutely loving this, and they're promoting the exact same shared savings idea. They're offering comparable incentives to enhance care while saving costs. So what does this mean for you? It means the accuracy of your coding is more critical than ever because your data directly impacts those quality metrics and shared savings.
Moving on to Section 2, Tech-Assisted Coding and CDI, the coder's modern workflow.
Let's talk about CDI, which stands for Clinical Documentation Improvement, and how it pairs up with CAC, or Computer-Assisted Coding. Driven by things like artificial intelligence and natural language processing, modern CAC software makes it so much easier to convert complex clinical conditions into coded data. Why is this absolutely vital? Well, deploying highly specific systems like ICD-10 requires flawless documentation. The AI is great. It assists you by rapidly scanning records and suggesting codes, but it absolutely still requires a human expert. You still need to be there to ensure the clinical picture is perfectly captured, validated, and totally compliant.
Now, speech recognition technology is pretty amazing, but look, anyone who's ever used voice-to-text on their smartphone knows it's far from perfect, right? A doctor might mumble one thing into their dictation device and the computer just types out something completely different. Or the system might completely miss an inferred procedure, where a diagnosis is clearly given but the therapy isn't explicitly detailed. As a modern coder, you've got to actively clarify that medical record for legal reasons. Your role is really evolving here. You essentially become a high-level clinical auditor, using your deep medical knowledge and a healthy dose of caution to verify what the AI or automated dictation might have messed up.
Section 3, Electronic Claims and Clearinghouses, Streamlining RCM.
Once your claim is ready, it heads over to a clearinghouse. Think of the clearinghouse as this essential middleman that ensures all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And today, Robotic Process Automation, or RPA, is handling the heavy lifting here. RPA runs this sort of scrub-a-dub routine, automatically scrubbing the claims to catch revenue code and clerical mistakes at lightning speed. It handles electronic eligibility checks, automated denial routing, and prior authorizations. Then comes payer matching, which routes the claim to the exact right payer ID number. And finally, it generates vital tracking reports so you can seamlessly follow up on any submission hiccups.
Let's put this into perspective. Manual claim filing means a high incidence of mistakes, totally tanked productivity, and incredibly lengthy waits for the provider to actually get paid. Nobody wants that. Electronic billing, on the flip side, means drastically reduced administrative and human errors, hyper-accelerated processing, and saving a massive amount of time and energy. The bottom line here? Sending claims electronically is undeniably the absolute quickest and most effective approach for a modern medical billing business.
Which brings us to Section 4, Continuous Adaptation and Updates, the Reality of Healthcare.
I really want you to let this quote from our source text sink in for a second. The field of healthcare is always changing. Codes change, rules change. The Medicare policies are subject to change. If you're going to protect your provider's revenue and avoid a total compliance disaster, your technical expertise literally has to continuously adapt to match these evolving federal regulations and payer updates.
Because of this constant state of flux, continuing education units, or CEUs, are mandatory. You have to have them to keep your certifications active. Think about it. Every single year, new CPT and diagnosis codes are introduced, and older, established ones are retired right out of use. Beyond that, Medicare compliance policies and National Correct Coding Initiative edits shift around periodically. Plus, major upgrades like the massive transition to ICD-10 require total re-education. Earning these CEUs through workshops or organizations like AAPC and AHIMA is exactly how you maintain your specialty edge, keep up with those annual code revisions, and stay highly relevant in your career.
Before we get to the end, I want to pose a really fundamental question. It's one that brings everything we've talked about full circle. What does billing have to do with medical coding at its core? Think about that for a second. Coding is what actually powers the entire billing process. The coder is the one translating the medical record into this complex acronym of codes, and then the biller uses those exact codes to generate the financial claim. You literally cannot have one without the other.
Section 5. The Master Capstone Summary.
Look, no matter how much the technology evolves, no matter what shiny new NLP software or RPA tools a hospital buys, these 3 primary stages of clinical coding are the absolute foundation of what you do. Stage 1 is abstraction. That's reviewing the records, the surgery notes, the lab results, to fully ascertain the patient's condition and care. Stage 2 is assignment. That's identifying the correct code and inputting it into the system. And Stage 3 is review, verifying that the allocated codes actually, adequately, and legally describe the patient's condition.
As you step out into your careers, whether you're at a doctor's office, a huge hospital network, or working right from your own home, never forget this crucial truth. Software is just a tool. Almost all major healthcare providers have advanced billing software, sure, but using it effectively requires a human brain. You still need to understand the fundamental mechanics of medical coding to accurately translate patient care into revenue and make a real impact. You are the vital translators bridging the gap between medicine and finance. As AI and automation continue to evolve, the question isn't whether technology will replace coders, it's how the coders who embrace technology will replace those who don't. How are you going to lead the charge in this new era? Please like, share, and subscribe to Decode Healthcare with Harshal.